Hello, welcome back everybody to Dragon Ball Z Super U UV or whatnot. What was it? Was it VU? Yeah, Dragon Ball Z Super UV, not VU. Okay.
So last time on Dragon Ball Super, Ultra Vegito had returned to hunt for the gods, quickly finding Kitella and his angel Cognac before in some of the most brutal scenes in DBZ history, Ultra Vegito got rid of them both while simultaneously absorbing their divine energy into himself. And now in today's manga, all that's left are 6 gods, 6 angels, and 1 powerful mortal to surpass them all. But before we continue, today's video is... So our story continues at the scene of Lord Belmont's palace, the god of destruction of Universe 11. Surrounded by his harem of female servants, he seems calmer than expected, being fed grapes as his angel Margarita watches on closely from behind. As eventually Belmont addresses Margarita with a big grin and says, "Haha, these last few days have been my most relaxing weeks since that demon Vegito turned up. Amazing work, Margarita. Jiren has once again surpassed all limits. Training 20 years in the span of only 10 days.
Okay.
Who knew you angels even had access to such facilities for training? Now, he's not only the mortal stronger than a god of destruction, but the mortal stronger than the angels too." And with a pleased look, accepting the compliments from her lord, Margarita adds, "Yes, my lord. Well, all of us angels have access to the Pyramid of Power, but it's rarely required. Inside there, 2 years will only ever appear as a day on the outside, and with no limit on how long one can stay inside, it was perfect for getting our Jiren to match this Vegito. It's a shame Toppo, even with his destruction abilities, could only last 2 days, but Jiren lasted the entire 10.
Real quick. I'm back. Sorry about that.
Jiren lasted the entire 10. A feat, I must say, no angel nor god of destruction in the history of the cosmos has ever matched. But after saying that, a more concerned look comes across the angel's face as she looks into the sky and continues, "But it wasn't easy, that's for sure. Convincing one as steadfast in his beliefs and desires as Jiren was near impossible if it wasn't for offering Jiren what he really wanted in return. In a funny way, we need to thank Son Goku for this." And with that said, the scene then shifts to a flashback, one from a few weeks ago where we see Jiren meditating out in the mountains, the same thing he had been doing pretty much ever since the end of the Tournament of Power, slowly increasing his power to an ungodly amount over the span of a decade, until suddenly, without warning, Jiren's eyes open and noticeably there is something very different about him. His eyes now showing it all. Within those 10 years of mental training, constantly reimagining his battle with MUI Goku, Jiren too has now self-perfected his own Ultra Instinct, and seemingly to a level where it's not outwardly visible through aura, much like the angels themselves. But he doesn't just open his eyes for nothing, as he soon calls out with his back turned, "You there, come out and show yourself. I will not be watched as I train." Oh dear, 1 minute. And just as Jiren says this, a panicking figure reveals themselves from behind the rock formation, with long pigtails and a curious blue skin tone, as Jiren just waits and grumbles. Hurry up already! And eventually, it's revealed in this flashback with a bemused expression is none other than the angel Margarita, as having been caught out, then says, "My oh my, how observant of you, Jiren-san. I guess I should have known better to think anyone could hide from your instincts. And talking of instinct, it seems these years of meditation have produced some instant results. I must commend you for mastering a technique made for the angels without even a day of my training. You always were the genius of Universe 11. But Jiren, who is unfazed by any of these words, slowly begins getting to his feet without a hint of rust, saying, "Enough with the fake compliments, Angel. Since you've come without Belmod, I can only assume this is important, and for that, I will rise." As Margarita watches on from behind and responds gratefully, "Oh good, I did need you to listen to what I'm about to say carefully anyway." Before Jiren, with a bothered look, then pushes the angel, "So, out with it already. What business do you have with me?
So many people.
Has another tournament been announced? Speak now." To which Margarita at first remains silent, trying to think of the best way to approach the information she's about to reveal until... "Very well, Jiren. You always were an impatient one.
Yep.
I'll cut to the chase then. Jiren-san, do you remember the warriors named Goku and Vegeta from the last Tournament of Power? The two Saiyans who you fought with tooth and nail, heralded from Lord Beerus's Universe 7. I believe you fought one of them, Son Goku,
Yeah, I believe it was
in the final moments of the tournament. The one mortal to have surpassed you in power, at least back then." Huh? The Saiyans? And immediately, hearing the mention of the two, Jiren instantly turns his head to look at Margarita, as if needing to hear more. And he responds, "Yes, Son Goku. Of course I remember him. The man that valued his friends and family above all. And Vegeta, a true warrior to the end. I've longed to meet those two in battle again one day. Now what of them?"
Oh, that day will come.
Margarita, then with a serious look, replies, "Yes, indeed they do value their friends and family an impossible amount. And ironically, this may have something to do with that. But it would take far too long to explain, and time is not something we have the luxury of right now." Leading to the angel, then extending her hand to Jiren and saying, "Instead, come here to me, Jiren-san. Lend me your mind, and I will show you in an instant exactly what has become of those two over the last 10 years. I'll make sure to not miss a single detail."
I'm gonna bet you right now, she's gonna miss out so many details. She's gonna leave out the part that the gods destroyed the earth, the part that they accidentally killed Beerus, and all that. I make him look so bad of just killing the gods and angels. Like, yeah.
Fine. For once I actually agree with you, Angel. As Jiren then confidently, and with complete trust in his universe's angel, walks over to Margarita, before bending to one knee just before her. As the deity lets out, "Perfect, Jiren-san. Now hold still. This will only take a moment." And just like that, Margarita then places her hand on Jiren's forehead, ready to show him a nightmare like never before seen.
What? What is this? This cannot be! Who is this man? This monster! A Saiyan? No. Son Goku! How could you?
As instantly Jiren's face morphs into one of complete shock and disbelief as for the first time he witnesses all the things Ultra Vegito had done up to this point, including his reasons why. Or at least, that's what we think he's seeing. Margarita, meanwhile, as she watches his reaction, can't help but think inside, yes, Jiren-san, watch it. Watch it all! Watch how low those Saiyans have fallen, how bloodthirsty and insolent they have become. They must be stopped. Don't you agree, my brave warrior? But soon enough, we too get to actually see what story Jiren is being told. And clearly, quite a few parts are missing. For one, Jiren is shown how Goku and Vegeta fused initially to become Gogeta, rather than their fusion to Vegito. And their outfits are wrong too, followed immediately by not their subsequent imprisonment and destruction of his friends and family, but instead the brutal murder of Sidra, Ramshi, Lika, and Heliz, the death of gods, by what seems a mortal who has lost their mind and turned to the other side. A truly twisted take on the story shown to Jiren to sway his opinions.
Enough!
But soon, even for the mentally hardened Jiren, seeing the non-stop brutality of this figure who contains both Goku and Vegeta becomes too much even for him to process, stepping back in a mixture of disbelief and fear, as in all his life he'd never even seen a god bleed before, let alone seeing 6 die and disappear right before him, and all at the hands of a mortal.
Son Goku.
And with a look of defeat, Jiren then immediately bows his head, staring at the ground as he tries to make sense of what he's seen. And for a moment, he begins to doubt even its authenticity, before eventually he lifts his head slightly and thinks,
there's no way this angel fabricated those scenes. Whoever that was, they really did possess the power to beat not only the gods, but the angels too. The only question is that man really Son Goku and Vegeta fused? Why? Why would they not have used that power against me? Was I not worthy?
But eventually, the tempered warrior regains his cool and stands tall once again facing Margarita and asks,
so, why show me all of this? Why me? Because Belmont is now in danger too? Well, if that's the case, I didn't even need to know. As a Pride Trooper, I am sworn to protect this universe and everyone inside it. And with Belmont being a former Pride Trooper himself, there would be no question. If Son Goku comes to this universe to kill Belmont as he had with the others, rest assured, I will be there. And his death will be by my hand, and my hand alone.
Suddenly shifting the tone as Jiren slowly raises his hand in a claw position and looks at the angel with unwavering murderous intent. It seems regardless of his respect for Goku and Vegeta, if the lines of justice are crossed, Jiren will act without hesitation. But Margarita in response, though slightly alarmed by the intensity, can only reply,
I see. Well, as good as that is to hear, I never did doubt your loyalty to Belmod. After all, I know of the history of you two. But this god killer Son Goku has become... He's no longer on your level, Jiren-san, nor even mine. As you saw, he has slain countless gods and angels with an unprecedented ease. His power level honestly at this moment is a complete unknown. And though your power too after these years of training may have increased massively, we must remember this is not only the power of Son Goku, but Son Goku combined with Vegeta, who in the years gone by has attained destruction powers of his own. And Jiren, hearing this, being a realist, ultimately just folds his arms and replies in agreement. That is true. I have attained a new level. But from what I've seen, it's true that I would most likely lose to this fusion you tell me of. But a battle is a battle, and anything can happen. If there's anything Son Goku taught me, a battle can be won by just whichever side believes in themselves more. And besides, what other alternatives are there? Do you suggest I bring Toppo and the rest of the Pride Troopers to help fight him too? Because I refuse! I battle alone, and I will not bring them like lambs to slaughter before this Vegito. But Margarita, seemingly expecting this from Jiren, just looks back and says, Well, Belmod had a feeling you would say that, but in all honesty, the rest of them would only get in your way, just as they did in the Tournament of Power. There's no doubt yours and Vegito's battle would go far beyond what they could even keep up with. But what I offer instead is the opportunity to train and bridge the gap between you two, using the Pyramid of Power, a dimension meant usually only for the gods and angels, where with just one day passing in our world, 2 whole years will pass inside. Meaning in just a couple of days, your power can skyrocket once more. Especially with a training partner like the God of Destruction candidate, Toppo. Huh? Toppo? The mention of a training partner, and of all people Toppo, immediately confuses Jiren, however, as an unimpressed and dismissive Jiren then closes his eyes in response. Why would I need to train with anyone, let alone Toppo? Just as I battle, I train alone too, and my meditation alone will afford me maximum progress. He can enter your pyramid after me, but not at the same time. But hearing this, Margarita swiftly answers back, Because, Jiren-san, you're going to need someone to help you master your new abilities as the next God of Destruction of Universe 11. What? Me? The next God of Destruction? Since when did I agree to that? I have no interest. The outburst, of course, leaving Jiren completely taken aback, being the most unexpected thing the angel could have said. But it's not soon after a crafty smile comes across Margarita's face as she explains one crucial point, saying, You didn't, Jiren-san, but I'm afraid if you ever want to fight Son Goku again, as Vegito or otherwise, you'll need to become one. You see, this God Killer, as the name suggests, is only out for the gods. Mortals are of no interest to him, and he's shown this already. If you challenged him as you are, he would most likely refuse, or even worse, take it easy on you. Probably the ultimate disrespect to a warrior like yourself. You don't want that, do you? You want to fight him at his best. And if you did fight him at his best,
he would be fighting a warrior possessing not only angelic techniques, but now destruction power too, because of Vegeta. The only way to fight destruction is to gain mastery yourself. And so, this is the only way, Jiren-san. And with all this said, Jiren is finally just left with his thoughts, closing his eyes once again, but not saying anything more as he thinks on this offer before him. As the flashback then ends, and back in the present, we see a figure in the distance. But as we zoom in closer and closer, we see that is none other than Vegito himself, ready now to find his next victim as he grabs his angel staff and commands,
"Take me to the next god of destruction!"
And in a flash, he and the staff shoots straight into the sky. Only moments later than arriving in a new universe on an Earth-like planet, with destroyed buildings all around. But as the aura of the staff dissipates, Vegito stands confused as before him a figure stands, but not the one who he recognizes as a god of destruction.
I know you, don't I? What are you doing here?
I thought I told this staff to take me to a god of destruction. And finally revealed to be standing there with his arms folded and veins already popping is Toppo, remaining silent in the face of the god killer he already knows so much about, having been briefed by Belmont himself. Vegito though, now finally remembering who the Pride Trooper is, adopts a smirk as he goads Toppo.
All these years and you're as ugly as ever, Toppo. Could have at least lost a few pounds, couldn't you? So, what's the deal with you being here? Where's Belmont? I'm here to talk to this universe's god of destruction, not his spandex wearing lackeys. Unless, don't tell me, you actually succeeded him and became the next god? I hope for your sake that's not true.
But Toppo, with a fierce look, holding back his rage, answers back coldly.
Just when I thought Son Goku could not get any worse, after putting entire universes at stake for the sake of a tournament. Now, you come here to break your own record, a merciless murderer, of gods no less, trespassing in universes you have no right to be in, all in the search now to kill our Lord Belmont. I should rip you in half right now. But I'm no god of destruction yet. The real one is who will have the pleasure of ending your life, finally. Oh really, Beast Man? But just the thought of Toppo threatening him instantly causes Vegito to break out into laughter, as he pokes more fun and asks, "Rip me in half? You seem to have forgotten that just Vegeta alone could make short work of the likes of you. Silly Beast Man, you must not realize that I am neither Goku nor Vegeta, but a combination of their greatest strengths. You'll know soon enough, once your god gets here. Tell me, when exactly will Belmont be arriving to end my life?"
But suddenly, things take a turn for the worst, as Vegito senses an enormous energy. One so large, it changes the atmosphere itself, as if almost Vegito's whole body feels a shift in gravity pressuring him. He turns around from side to side in panic we've never seen before, yelling,
"What the hell is it? This can't be Belmont. This power is far beyond even Beerus. Who's there? His angel? No, It's too much for even...
But suddenly, before Vegito could utter a single line further, a masked figure with speed like nothing else we've seen so far slams a fist directly into the solar plexus of Vegito, catching him off guard and also winding him. The sudden attack is so strong, it immediately causes the God Killer to cough out blood as his internal organs rupture. With barely one eye open, Vegito tries to decipher who the figure is, letting out,
Cheap shot! Now who on earth are you? You're too big to be that stick, Belmont. No. Are you?
But once again, cut short prematurely, Vegito is brutally banged in the face by a left hook from the assailant. The impact being so large, it could be felt from many miles away, sending Vegito for a speedy crash course that ends up in numerous more buildings being collaterally destroyed as Vegito skids across the ground, until finally laying on his front at a standstill as the friction on his skin alone brings him to a stop. He grumbles,
You'll pay for that!
and as the mystery figure removes his hood, it is shown to be none other than Jiren the Grey, now having completed his training and standing tall with a quiet confidence that his new level of power cannot be matched, perhaps even by the God Killer. Meanwhile, Topo from behind looks on and comments proudly,
Haha, that's the kind of speed and power one can expect from 20 years of consistent training. I had my doubts, but it looks like Margarita's and Lord Belmont's plan has been executed to perfection. Ha! I felt those punches just by looking at them.
but Vegeta, who is not one to be beaten so easily, soon raises to one knee. At first quiet, but noticeably all around him, the ground and planet itself begins to shake as something builds up.
Jiren!
As with a face filled with rage and embarrassment, he stares at his former friend and foe with an anger that would send shivers down anyone's spine. Perhaps Vegito too can sense that Jiren may be his single biggest obstacle. So make sure to leave a hashtag Jiren down in the comments if you want to see the next part.
Ooh.
But big shout out to Tokyo Tree and Sakura.
Yeah, I skipped the sponsor because I am worried that it might get a copyright claim, but, yeah. And, like, it was like a long time ago. But, long story short, it's basically a sponsor of, Japanese, Chinese play. If you would like to see the sponsor or whatnot of the video, feel free to go to this video right here. But other than that, I'll see you guys in the next one. Hopefully you guys enjoy.